morning, everybody. I hope everybody's been having a good day. Mladen is saying good morning on the Zoom as well. So good morning to you, Mladen. And it is another beautiful day. Even whether it is sunny or not, it is a beautiful day. And it's a day for new opportunities. So let's get into some reading. Rich Dad Poor Dad in Chinese. That is not very useful for most of you. I'm learning the Chinese. I know that you're probably not. So that is not going to help. So we're reading The Art of Thinking Clearly, which is a great book. Yesterday's chapter was so much fun. If you were here yesterday, I am sure you would have really enjoyed that one. I know Mladen did. He mentioned a couple of things about that. So hello to everybody on Big O. Hello to everybody on Zoom. And let's get straight into, where are we up to? Chapter 66. I cannot believe how many chapters we've already read together. So the chapter is Why You Are a Slave to Your Emotions. It's called the Effect Heuristic. And let's get into it because I know that you have lots of goals and things to work on for the rest of the day. So what do you think of genetically modified wheat? It's a complex issue. You don't want to answer too hastily. A rational approach would be to consider the controversial technology's pros and cons separately. Write down the possible benefits, weigh them in terms of importance, and then multiply them by the probability that they will occur. Doing so, you get a list of expected values. Next, do the same with the cons. List all the disadvantages, estimate the potential damage, and multiply them by the likelihood of them happening. This positive sum minus the negative sum equals the net expected value. If it is above zero, you're in favor of genetically modified wheat. If the sum is below zero, you are against it. More than likely, you have already heard of this approach. It's called expected value, and it features in most literature on decision theory. But just as probable is that you're never bothered to carry out such an evaluation. And without a doubt, none of the professors who wrote the textbooks turned to this method to select their spouses. Interesting idea. Truth be told, no one uses this method to make decisions. First of all, we lack enough imagination to list all the possible pros and cons. We're limited by what springs to mind. We can only conjure up what we have seen in our modest experience. That is very true. So when we are making decisions, we're thinking about only the things that we have experienced. There might be so many more outside of that realm that we haven't experienced, so we're not able to think about it, so we're not able to have it as part of our decision-making process. It is hard to imagine a storm of the century if you're only 30 years old. Second, calculating small probabilities is impossible because we do not have enough data on rare events. The smaller the probability, the fewer data points we have, and the higher the error rate on the exact probability, a vicious effect. And this, for example, would be the same case if, or I don't know if we should go there, but if a medication has been developed and it hasn't been developed in the usual way, so it's come out a little bit quicker than usual, and we don't have the data to be able to know what would happen if we haven't gone through the whole process that it would usually take to be able to get that data. The smaller the probability, the fewer data points we have, and the higher the error rate on the exact probability, a vicious effect. Third, our brain is not built for such calculations. They require time and effort, and that is definitely not our preferred state. In our evolutionary past, whoever thought too long and hard vanished inside a predator's jaws. I wonder if that's a lion. Yeah, thought too long about that. I should have just run away. We are the descendants of quick decision makers, and we rely on mental shortcuts called heuristics. This is very true. One of the most popular is the effect heuristic. An effect is a momentary judgment, something you like or dislike. The word gunfire triggers a negative effect. The word luxury produces a positive one. Or both of them could also be the reverse. Some people are going to have gunfire as something positive and luxury as a negative if they are very much into nature and going out and living as close to nature as possible. This automatic one-dimensional impulse prevents you from considering risks and benefits to be independent variables, which indeed they are. Instead, the effect heuristic puts risks and benefits on the same sensory thread. Your emotional reactions to issues such as nuclear power, organic vegetables, private schools, or motorbikes determine how you assess their risks and benefits. If you like something, you believe that the risks are small and the benefits greater than they actually are, sometimes. If you don't like something, the opposite is true. Risks and benefits appear to be dependent. Of course, in reality, they are not. Even more impressive, suppose you own a Harley Davidson. If you come across a study that states that driving one is riskier than previously thought, you will subconsciously tweak how you rate the benefits, deeming the experience an even greater sense of freedom. But how does an effect, the initial spontaneous emotion, come to be? Researchers at the University of Michigan flashed either of three images for less than 1/100th of a second in front of participants: a smiling face, an angry face, or a neutral figure. The subjects then had to indicate whether they liked a random selected Chinese character or not. The participants didn't speak Chinese. Most preferred symbols that immediately followed the smiling face. Seemingly insignificant factors influence our emotion. And this is an interesting study, because I don't know if you know about subconscious programming, and how in the movie theaters many years ago, if you went to the movie theaters in the 1950s, 1960s, what they would do is, if you had a reel of film, and our eye can only really perceive every eight pieces of film. And so they would take one of those pieces and they would write, "Buy Coca-Cola." And our brain can't, or our eye can't see it, but our brain can. And the brain would see that, and it's subconscious. So we don't even know that we're thinking this. And all of a sudden, half the cinema, even more, probably 80% of the whole population of the people in the cinema, get up in the break, walk to the bar and buy a Coca-Cola, and wonder why on earth they're buying it, because they're not sure. And the reason is because they've been subconsciously programmed. It's a subliminal message that they've been sent to go and do something. They don't know why. They weren't planning to do it, and they're just forced by their brain to do it because they've been told to by this thing that they cannot see. And it's quite dangerous, and it's now illegal. And yet it still happens. Satanic concerts, and there's a couple of other places where these things still happen. It was also used on television in the United States. I recently saw a video of the national anthem that they used to play at the end of the day in the 1960s in the US. And if you slow the tape down enough, you will actually see a subliminal message that says, "Obey your government. Obey, consume, obey, consume." Very, very interesting things. Anyhow, we digress a little bit. Here's another example where an insignificant factor plays a role. Researchers Hirschleifer and Shumway tested the relationship between the amount of morning sun and daily market performance in 26 major stock exchanges between 1982 and 1997. They found a correlation that reads much like a farmer's adage. If the sun is shining in the morning, stock market will rise during the day. Not always, but often. Who would have thought that sunshine could move billions? I would say me, because if the sun is shining, people are more likely to get up earlier and actually invest on the stock market. When it is not sunny, people are more likely to stay in bed and not get onto the stock market. And they'll feel depressed, and they might sell something instead after they've had their longer sleep. The morning sun obviously has the same effect as a smiley face. Whether we like it or not, we are puppets of our emotion. We make complex decisions by consulting our feelings, not our thoughts. Against our best intentions, we substitute the question, "What do I think about this?" with "How do I feel about this?" So smile. Your future depends on it. And that is extremely true. We are, technically speaking, just computers that run a software. And that software is based on all the things that we've experienced in the past. And that will tell us whether something is good or not, whether something should be done or not. Because if I have been beaten up by somebody when I was in high school, let's say that I was bullied and I was beaten up by a certain person, my brain is going to take that emotion and hold on to that. If there's a certain smell that was associated with that person, if there was a certain kind of look or a kind of face that that person used to make, if I see somebody else now that looks like that person or smells like that person, then that software is going to run and tell me that there is a danger with this person, even though it's a completely different person, even if they might have a very nice personality. So this is what we have to keep in mind, that we are basically running off of our past experiences in order to be able to determine what we do in the future. And we are very fast decision makers. So obviously we are the descendants of the people that made quick decisions and we were the survivors of those quick decisions. And so we also like to make quick decisions. So there's nothing good or bad inherently in that, but it is important that we realize that. So realization, understanding, knowing what we are doing and why we are doing it and how we are programmed is the key to being able to understand how to react differently. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that one as well. I'd love to know your thoughts. But first, I'm going to let you know next time we are reading, which is tomorrow. Yes, we are still in the middle of the week. Chapter 67, Be Your Own Heretic. The Introspection Illusion. Sounds like a lot of fun as well. Then, if you'd like to watch more of these episodes, if you'd like to watch some of the past chapters from this book, then you can go to the Passive Cashflow Club, which is where you will find us on YouTube. And if you want to see what I am up to and what other things that I do, and if you'd like to get in touch and you'd like to direct message me, you can. Oh, somebody sent something very nice. I appreciate that one. Let's have a look. Charlie, thank you for the dragon that you sent. Appreciate that very, very much. So if you'd like to get in touch and DM me personally, see what I'm up to, all of those different kinds of things, you can go to business_team_6_official, and you will find me there and you can reach out. I love hearing your thoughts and comments. I love meeting new people. And yes, you can also leave your comments on the YouTube videos, and I love reacting to those. So have an absolutely amazing day. Thank you for joining wherever you were from. It was amazing meeting you today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you for tomorrow's chapter 67. Have a great day. Remember to evaluate what's going on around you, because the more powerful, or the more you know about yourself, the more powerful you are. So have a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.